TSN's Frank Corrado joining us now to talk some hockey. You're far away from your first golf date in Toronto. How much snow on the ground?
As far as you could possibly be from playing golf at this point. Like we're at the part of winter here where I'm having conversations with people and we're like, it's probably never going to melt, and if it does, it's going to be May or something.
Yes.
Like I can't envision late April golf at this point.
But that won't stop you. You did the hit with us last year where you had, like, I think your driving iron. You were like, you were feeling it.
Oh yeah. I get downstairs. I do Ottawa radio twice a week, and those hits used to be at 8:15 in the morning, but now, like, when I'm home, we got to get the kids to daycare because 8:15 is a tough time to, like, do a hit, then get them dressed. So I've been doing them at 6:40 in my furnace room. And in my furnace room, I have my driving iron and my old Odyssey putter. And I'm just kind of talking sense, just, getting the grip going and, like, feeling the club. And it gets the juices going.
I'm guessing you can't take a full swing, though, in the furnace room.
No, it's all about alignment.
Oh, okay. Just working on alignment. Yeah.
It's just alignment. How does the club sit? How are my hands? It's just, and then the adventure after that, who knows what'll happen once the swing gets going, but my alignment should be okay.
Good luck in your first round in early June, whenever that is. We're looking forward to the Olympic hockey break. That's the one thing that will cast some sunshine on Toronto and some warmth, is watching Olympic hockey again. Are you starting to feel it yet? I've been tepid for the Olympics overall, just because I haven't sunk my teeth into it yet and haven't let it sort of sink in that what we're about to watch is what we're about to watch. But where are you at right now?
Starting to get excited. I feel like we've all just been busy with our own stuff, right? Like, we have work that we're doing, we got family life, so you're just sort of in this day-to-day mode where you don't look too far ahead. But I'm excited for the Olympics, not even just the hockey. I'm excited for the hockey everything. Right.
Yeah.
Like, my wife goes to me today. She goes, I can't wait to watch some figure skating. I love it. We never really watch it. It's not on, it's not something that's often on TV. So, like, there's all these things. Like, I gotta see Lindsey Vonn try and do this thing with a torn ACL. I've had a torn ACL. I couldn't imagine getting off the crapper with a torn ACL, and she's going to go down a mountain. It is crazy, but
see, if that were an Olympic event, I think I would rank. I would rank. Yes.
Yeah. Crapper get-ups per 60.
Yeah. There is more injury replacements there. So what'd you think of Sam Bennett getting the call?
It makes sense. It's like it's your safe automatic pick, and why wouldn't you bring Sam Bennett? Of course, Sam Bennett. Of course, it hurts to not have Anthony Cirelli. Clearly, that's a guy that was selected because you believe in what his purpose can be on the team. But if for a second you were losing sleep over not having Sam Bennett there, or felt uneasy about that decision, well, that helps negate things a little bit now that he's on the team. And, to Sam Bennett's case, I guess, he did everything he could have possibly done to make this team, other than have a slow start to the season points-wise. But he's picked it up there. Florida is also playing significantly shorthanded this entire year. Was good at the Four Nations. Conn Smythe winner in the face-offs, or in the playoffs. Plays with a ton of jam and energy and bite, which is exactly what they're talking about with this thing being a tight checking game. He can work through a lot of that. So, that's it's the easiest selection you could have made. Center for center, Cirelli for Bennett, and you have the guy that you probably should have taken in the first place.
We're basically a week out now. What's your sense? Like, we've had all this lead up. We watched what happened at the Four Nations. Do you think Jordan Binnington's going to be the starter for the first game for Canada? Does the incumbent get the first game and then take it from there, or will we see a shift in the Canadian plans in goal?
I would put it this way, J-Pat. Like, I would be surprised if it's not Binnington starting the first game, which is crazy because of what the stats have been for him this season and the role that he's playing on St. Louis. But I wonder if there's just so much, like, trust built in with the coaching staff and John Cooper, and it's just like, we're going to give him game one. And if he plays well in game one, we'll know where he's at. And if he doesn't play well in game 1, we'll go to Logan Thompson or we'll go to Darcy Kemper. I would imagine you'll go to Thompson first. And then if he plays well in game 2, then that's your guy the rest of the way. And if Binnington plays well in game 1, you could still go to someone else in game 2, but full well knowing that, okay, whatever was going on in the regular season with St. Louis, it's not the case here on Team Canada. And he's in a different frame of mind, and he's going to be, what he was at the Four Nations last year. I guess if you're Canada, you're also saying we're going to put together a team that is so good defensively that we're not going to give up anything. What are we going to give up? 16 shots a night? Can you make 15 saves for us? And chances are, like, there's going to be 2 or 3 grade A's that you're going to have to save along the way. Like, it's going to be a pretty different environment. So, but I think he'll get the first crack at it and see how it goes from there.
You have any concerns about Drew Doughty at this stage of his career on the Olympic stage, or do you think getting back to that level is somehow going to help him reinvigorate? Because he has not been particularly good since he was selected to this team.
It's interesting, right? Like, I think with Drew Doughty, there's such a presence around him. Like, if you've ever kind of seen him around or called a game that he's been in, you guys have seen it. Like, there's something about him where he's sort of like a larger than life kind of guy. So I think for the team, like, having him around and having the Olympic experience with him, it's something. Like, it's not nothing. You can't discount it. As far as what he's doing on the ice right now, he's going to be in a different position than what he's normally in LA, right? Like, you're essentially asking Drew Doughty to be a good leader, a good guy to, like, lean on for everyone, a big voice in the locker room, but on the ice, you're playing behind Cale Makar and Devon Taves and Josh Morrissey and, Shea Theodore. Like, there's a lot of guys, I guess, that will do more substantial things on the ice than him, but it's still worth having him for the intangibles that he brings to the table. And I have no doubt that, like, if you ask Drew Doughty to say, like, we need you to block some shots, we need you to probably kill some penalties, like, that's well within his grasp, given everyone that's already on that back end.
The Canucks face the Golden Knights tonight before they head into the Olympic break, and that's dangerous because this team is not playing well again after a brief 3 points out of a possible 4 stretch last week. And you do wonder, Frank, like, what's their headspace at? Taking on a good team on the road. It is the mom's trip, but they were still nonetheless blown away a couple of nights ago by the Utah Mammoths. So much for wanting to put forth the best effort versus or with the moms watching. I mean, this could get ugly again here if they've already checked out and are looking forward to the sunshine.
I guess the other thing, though, is Vegas is 3-5-2 in their last 10. Like, they're not playing very good hockey either. So maybe that brings it back down to the pack a little bit, and it's maybe a closer game. But it's an interesting time of year because it can feel like some teams might have one foot out the door, and then some teams might be having this, like, sprint to the finish where, if you're a team that's fighting for your playoff lives right now, you're in every game, so engaged. I think of, like, Boston in the East. I think of Utah right now, like in the West, that, even Seattle for that matter. But, for Vancouver, man, you play pretty good game for the most part, especially through 40 minutes against Toronto. I mean, there's not it's tough to grab something and cling on to it right now with the situation the team is in. I think everyone's just looking forward to having a break, the mental just reprieve from losing all the time and watching the losing video and knowing you're going into a game against Vegas that, you're in tough. Like, you're in tough to make it a game. It's just about, can you keep it together that it's somewhat competitive before you get to that break and you get that mental reprieve?
Everybody just wants a good learning environment for these young players, a showcase. Like, it's just like a top prospect showcase every night here for the Vancouver Canucks. But it's interesting to watch the Flyers scandal go down with Rick Tocchet and Keith Jones et al. Jones saying how much he wants to see the young players and put in all sorts of situations. And, the same thing sort of playing out here in Vancouver where people are calling for that. But, Adam Foote is protecting his players, not playing Jonathan Lekramaki late. It's easy for us to say on the sidelines, play the kids. Is there a balance there of protecting the kids, but also just letting them learn by making mistakes in critical moments of the game?
The other thing, and the other thing that is relevant too is if you just start playing guys just to play guys, let's say, just want to play you 20 minutes a night, or if you're a forward, I want to play you 17, 18 minutes a night, it's going to give you everything. See if you can do it.
Right.
Okay, that's fine for the time being, given where you are. But then you have to manage expectations when eventually your team turns a corner, let's say, and you've got better players and you've got better pieces. And all of a sudden, this kid that you were just playing, just to play, has to face reality and say, that's actually not my role anymore. But coach, that was my role last year. So why are you taking this away from me? I didn't do anything wrong. Well, we brought in better players now and we're a better team, right? So I think there's part of that as well that maybe plays into it, like managing guys' expectations. Like this is a weird year when you finish in last place. The way guys are slotted right now, this is a one-off for the most part anyways, right? Like for the guys that are in flux. So like I remember kind of living through that and being like, hey, I'm on the second pair today. I'm going to play, I played 18 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. And I wasn't playing that after, right? Because we got better players and we're a better team. And so anyways, that's part of it too. And I think just, if it goes south on you, then it feels like if you can't do it then, when are you going to be able to do it? So there is a little bit of like a confidence kind of managing that I think coaches go with as well. And at the end of the day, coaches always play to win, regardless of how much, the team is struggling in the standings. They still want to, the coach has to justify, well, I'm actually trying to win games. So this is why I'm doing this thing. Because at some point, the coach is going to have another job interview and these things will likely come up. Like, did you just punt? Did you just give up? Or did you show these guys that no matter what, we're always in it right till the end? I think it's more complex than just, hey, we're bad, throw them all out there and let them play and go nuts.
There was a line of thinking out here that if the Canucks were to make a coaching move, the Olympic break gave them this sort of artificial training camp on the other side, a week to make a move and get somebody in. But messaging from the Canucks is that they're going to ride it out with Adam Foote for this year. I mean, there's also a lot of indication that he's going to be one and done. At the outset, he had the support of the players. He had been the good cop assistant coach, and they liked playing under him, to that regard. And players had pretty much been supportive. But as this thing goes off the rails, you do have to wonder, and especially since the defensive system just continues to be a mess for the Vancouver Canucks, I wonder in your playing days, like, did you ever sit in a locker room and question, like, what is a coach thinking? What is a coach doing here? Like, do I know more than the guy that's giving me my marching orders?
You don't even have to ask me. I would say that 80% of NHL players have had that thought about at least one coach throughout the time of, them playing, whether it's been the minors or the NHL. Like, I mean, didn't we see the Ottawa Senators video in that Uber many, many years ago talking about the penalty kill? Like, sadly, that's a fairly regular conversation that happens in the NHL.
Just not on film in the back of a car. Yes.
Yeah, it's just usually not on film. Usually it's like at dinner or maybe a couple beers or something like that. So, that's a real thing that happens. But you also have to remember, like, the players are the ones on the ice living and breathing it and doing it, right? So it's different to watch it from the bench. It's different to watch it in video after. There's like an instinctual element that players kind of perceive when they're on the ice doing these motions and these schemes. And so I think feedback, honestly, from players to coaches, it's happening more than it ever did in the history of the game, right? Like, players are saying, well, why are we doing this? And coaches need to have those answers. Like, coaches can't just implement something and say, this is what we're doing. player will ask you why. You almost have to convince, like you almost have to sell players now on why you're doing certain things. And I think that's okay, because guys are smarter and guys are more in tune with things. And like just guys are spending so much money on their own health and their skill development and their game development. And then when they see something that doesn't necessarily jive that the coach might be doing, it's like, no, I'll say something about it. So I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, but yeah, there's plenty of players that would probably like to be coach player, morph into a coach / player and have a little more say.
They don't do that anymore. It's too bad. Coach G or a player GM as well as an option here, as some players might be questioning the approach. It's one thing for the Toronto Maple Leafs to say, "Oh, we're not quite ready to deal the veterans." You may not agree with it, but you can understand it because they're on a bit of a roll now again. They are one team to jump to get into the playoffs, or two teams to jump to get into the playoffs. For the Vancouver Canucks in 32nd, with the reporting now that maybe they would be open to Besser or Garland leaving, but they're not shopping actively any veterans with term. Frank, what's going on here? It's one thing to trade UFAs. Everybody can trade UFAs. But how do you rebuild? Heck, how do you even hybrid rebuild without trading a veteran or two?
It's a good question. It really, I think it comes down to, Blake, if you turn the corner in the next few years, who do you see being a part of it? And the guys that are there right now are at that point going to be 2 and 3 years older, let's say. So you're right. How do you not even broach that conversation and say, but here's the crazy part, Blake. They just re-signed Brock Besser, and he wanted to come back to this situation.
Yeah.
Right? There would have been offers out there for Besser. Would there not have been? Maybe this was the best financial one. Maybe this one had the more, the most years attached to it. But man, you just re-upped, and now that's a lot of ticket for someone else to say. And maybe there was a team out there that was interested, but they weren't interested at that price or that term. So it almost I don't know, maybe it just handcuffs you a little bit. You're like, we're stuck with these guys, and it's going to have to be, we're going to have to make some other trades, or we're going to have to, get aggressive with some signings. But that becomes difficult too, because what's your pitch? What's your pitch to free agents other than we'll try and pay you as much as we possibly can? I mean,
have they sullied their name? Have they sullied their name? And does that just sully the management group, or does it sully the actual organization because it's the same owner? If teams do this, sign 2 extensions and then immediately trade them, who's that bad for?
It's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. To me, it's the same thing. If you're trying to make a pitch to a player and say, listen, we want you to be a part of the Canucks because we think we're building something here and we're going to be really good, or this is a great place to play, I think a player would look at that and say, well, you had 2 of your star players hate each other and had a soap opera going all of last year. Then this year you had a star defenseman who you had to trade because he basically said, check, please, and I'm out of here. I mean, it's not an easy recruitment process at that point. If guys are looking at what's gone on the last couple of years, guys want things. I'm sure you've learned this. We all have learned this. Guys want quiet. Guys want low maintenance. Guys want to play in markets where you don't get bothered. Well, not saying you get bothered in Vancouver, but Canadian markets are loud already. And then when there's internal stuff that goes on, it's it's a double doink, man. So if there's other quieter options available to you, that's probably what you're entertaining first.
You forgot the coach that thought the grass might be greener on the other side, although he's finding out that life in Philly ain't all that appealing. What did I think they had won 2 of 13 games or something? But a little heat there on Rick Tocchet these days.
It's interesting. So I'm flying to Philly tonight because I'm calling a Sens game tomorrow there, Sens versus Flyers. And I think 2 things can be true here, okay? Players want to be coached and players need to be coached. especially young players who are not complete yet. Like Matvei Michkov is not complete in what he's going to be. Like there's a huge offensive ceiling there. So he needs coaching. At the same time, though, you also need to come to a conclusion when it's time to build a player up and not just continue to kind of poke at what has happened in the past. Came into camp out of shape, maybe missed a treatment or something. Like, it happened. It's done. Like, you can coach him and you can work with him by still building him up. And I think that's where maybe things are at a little bit of a, I don't even want to say a crossroads in Philadelphia, but that's where the tension lies. And that fan base is so starved for a superstar, like a high-end, super skilled star player, which he certainly can be. But he needs to, like, Michkov needs to put in the work, and the coaching staff needs to build him up. I think both parties need to come to the table a little bit there. But if Tocchet thought the Vancouver market was tough, boy, that Philadelphia market is something else, because they were on Twitter like planning a chant at 19 minutes to go in the first period. 1 minute into the game on Tuesday, they planned a chant.
A very coordinated effort.
That's crazy stuff.
Canucks fans are like, respect. That is good Twitter behavior. Before you go, the Players Tribune thing with Connor McDavid, did it tell you anything? I mean, I know there's a lot in there, but did it actually tell you anything about his plans long term?
I think it just maybe reaffirms like just how badly this guy wants to win in Edmonton. Like I think there's a legacy component, and we could read between the lines on, the contract that he takes and leaving so much money on the table, like how badly he wants this thing to work in Edmonton. So that's the biggest thing that I take out of it. I think it's cool, man. Like anytime, regardless of who actually puts pen to paper and writes the articles, like I think it's just really cool that a player is going to take the time to sit down and let you kind of have a longer look, a little bit of a deeper look into what they're feeling and what they're thinking and their mindset. You don't get that much from players when they talk in front of a camera and a microphone after morning skate or after practice. So I thought it was really neat to get the kind of, behind the scenes view of what this guy is thinking. And for me, my big thing is, if you're an Edmonton Oilers fan, I think it just reaffirms how much and how bad he wants to win there and build the, Edmonton Oilers winning legacy.
And I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing. I wonder if there's a little bit of a LeBron Cleveland thing here. And not that he's from Edmonton, but it's his adopted hometown now. But, once LeBron gave Cleveland a championship, he was like, okay, good. I'm gone. I'm leaving again.
Right.
I wonder if it's dusting off the hands if he can get a cup this year or next.
Keep this in mind, too. The best players in the world, and I think this goes for every sport, they're incredibly stubborn.
Yeah.
And they have to be, because they're like convinced that, no, what I do works. Like I can make this happen here. I don't want to see this as a failure when I look back on it here. So best player in the world, Connor McDavid. I think he's incredibly stubborn in a good way, because he wants to win.
You have
there.
to be.
Sidney Crosby could have asked out in Pittsburgh. Who would have blamed him a couple of years ago? Stubborn. I want to make it work here, and I want to be a Penguin. Now they're going to make the playoffs again, and everyone gets their wish. We get to see Sidney Crosby in the playoffs, and we get to see it in a Penguins jersey. Stubborn, but like there's a reason behind it.
Frank, always a pleasure. Enlightening as per usual. Thank you for this, and we'll see when we catch up next, whether it's next week or the week after. But appreciate it.
Okay, boys, have a good one.